Las cosas que necesito en la vida ya están aquí. Las cosas que necesito en la vida ya están aquí. I am free, free as a bird now, with my feathered wings. I am free, free as a bird now, with my feathered wings.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Camino Cafe. I am so excited to be here in Vashon again. I've got Phil Volker sitting here with me.
Here we are.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this morning.
It's all fun.
We are at Phil's home and we've been here for the weekend for the Camino Heads Oasis, and we have had such an amazing time. And I'm just going to turn the camera around. This is the first time the Camino Cafe has had a little bit of an audience, but it's not for the Camino Cafe, it's for
yeah, oh yeah.
Right. So let's just see if we can turn the camera around. Well, I'll just probably have to get up. But you can see we have so this is the early crowd. Not everyone's up at 7 a.m. to be here with Phil and I, but they'll probably be walking around here shortly. So last night we had an amazing evening, and Phil, what a special evening to watch Phil's Camino right here in your yard.
Right.
I can't imagine. And to be able to hear you commenting about the movie as it was going was incredibly special. And as I was driving here this morning, I thought, what does that feel like to you to see this movie? You know, what was that moment like for you last night with all the Camino Head community sitting here with you? You're in your yard, and there you are.
I was very emotional. I've really actually only seen this version maybe twice. So it's all sort of new to me, and I was very emotional. Everybody around me was very emotional. I don't know, it was special.
Yeah, it's incredibly special. The moment when you kept saying, wait for it, you know, the scene where you're walking across first your Camino here on Vashon, and then again, and then that scene when you're in Spain. And
yeah, that's great. That's a great transition.
Yeah.
I you know, just to my you know, put it on my credit here that I saw that building, or those series of buildings, from a long way off, and I said to Todd, our photographer, we gotta catch that somehow, because the colors were so fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you look at those colors, I mean, you can't find anything in our environment that matches that.
Yeah.
That sort of vibrancy. But so we did use it, you know, me just walking across it, because that's where the trail was. And it fit in really nicely with Jessica, the other person that was working on the film. She, I think that was her idea, to have that, you know, green, and then all of a sudden you're in Spain.
Yeah.
And that my person is the same. I am the same size, you know. I just kind of go right across. It's very cool.
Oh, I remember the first time I saw the film, and you know, I didn't know the story, so I didn't know that you were going to end up getting to go to Spain. Mm-hmm. And so when that scene happens, it's so incredibly special, right, everyone? So Phil, I wonder, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm just kind of curious, maybe I'm wrong, but did you exercise? Like, did you work out before you built this trail around your house? Were you a big walker?
No.
So
no, I thought, you know, exercise was just dreadful. You know? I mean, I get a lot of exercise in what I do, but I don't do exercise sort of for fun, you know.
Yeah.
And so I always thought it was dreadful, you know. So the trail was a way to, like, excuse me. The trail was a way to, well, the whole thing was a fantasy, you know, and it was a way to fool me into doing it. The walking was sort of a byproduct
Right.
of what I was doing.
So I know that Catalina has written a book about people building pilgrimages in their yard, and you're featured in this book.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like that was a huge idea, and not many people do something of this magnitude. So I know the doctors were wanting you to exercise, and you kind of went to a gym, wasn't your thing. So what made you, do you remember that moment where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to build this trail here on my property?
I don't remember a moment, but it was a very sort of creative time. And, we were watching The Way, and we were watching, I must have watched Annie's movie 50 times. Rebecca got so tired of the music that I watched it silently after a while. I couldn't get enough of it, And I was walking here, and I was keeping the fantasy up, and I had the logbook, and it was all good. So I even forgot your question.
Well, just the idea to build it, and
yeah.
Would you say the fantasy was to walk in Spain, or what was the fantasy at that point?
Yeah.
So from the minute,
because I couldn't go,
right.
So I said, okay, what's the next best thing? But I don't remember a specific moment.
Yeah.
But it took a while. It took a while of engineering the trail, and it took a while of figuring out the logbook, and it took a while figuring out the maps. And once I had that sort of organized, it was it was all fun to do it, and people would come and walk with me.
How many laps would you say you've done since you built it?
Oh, geez.
I mean, I know you did 909 to equal the Camino Frances at one point, but my guess is you've walked many more.
3,000.
3,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. That's an easy guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And how many people would you say have been out here?
Well, they're in the logbook. So, and email addresses for them. So I haven't counted lately, but I'm saying there's probably 400 people that I didn't know. Just people who came, were curious, or were for all other kind of reasons, were just major Camino heads and wanted to check in. Yeah. People I didn't know. So about 400 since we opened.
Yeah. And that doesn't even include the people that live here close by that come pretty regularly.
No, that's just all those people that come pretty regularly. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about people that came from far away.
Yeah.
Well, we're in Seattle anyway, and boy, the wind starts to blow.
Yeah, it sure is. So when you think back about people that have visited, who's come the furthest to come and walk with you? Do you have any idea? I know we had Ron and Ann from Spain.
Yeah, Ron and Ann from Spain. Now they're sleeping in, I guess, this morning.
The guy from China. You had somebody from
there was
China?
A guy from China. There's like two categories. There's like people that were in Seattle anyway, and then they said, "Oh, we'll come to Phil's," which is the major way that people come.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of groups that were significant that came. That I expect members of those groups to show up today.
Oh yeah.
That came. One came from Salt Lake City, and one came from I guess it's Orange County.
Okay.
Upland. What is that? What is that called? That area? Riverside. Okay, I don't know. I don't have any geography down there, but those one group came with 6 people, I think, for the weekend just to walk.
Oh wow!
And to be with us, and that was fun. And then the other group from Salt Lake, there was 3 stewardesses that came, and obviously they had free tickets or something. But they decided to come here, so that was cool. They were fun. But those are people that just came specifically to be here. So they get like the really gold star.
When you think back about all the people that have come to visit, what's been one of the best days, when you look back and you think, wow, I'm so glad I built this thing because this happened as a result, just with people coming and walking with you.
Yeah, the thing turned into kind of a salon, in the French sense, that people would, I see people nodding, yeah, that people would come and leave ideas, and we would give them ideas, and we would, meld ideas together. And that's when the Camino's at its best, when it's operating like that.
Yeah.
Or our Camino, or I suppose any Camino, when you're really hunkering down on stuff.
Can you think of a particular moment? Or
Yeah, there was one, we had a woman that was here once, and she was a friend of somebody else. And I don't know, Catherine was here. Catherine's not here right now, but she was asking me how, what was going on with this walk. And I said, well, it's a place where we figure things out. Okay. Okay. And then she kind of looked at me like straight in the face, and she said, well, Phil, what have you figured out?
I love it.
And I was like, and for 2 weeks I was like, I was working on a blog for like 2 weeks. What the heck have we figured out? I don't know. Maybe this, maybe that, but it's all been, we have been figuring things out, and it hasn't necessarily been sort of concrete stuff. So,
well, we got to ask now.
Oh no! Oh geez.
What do you feel
what have
like
we
you
figured
out?
out? Yeah,
what have you figured out recently?
Boy, I really blew that, didn't I? Wow, I don't know. It's kind of, a lot of it is sort of reinforcement of what we already know, right? I mean, it's of being together, of loving each other up, about hospitality, about a lot of it is that kind of stuff where we already know it. We're just sort of, as Kelly would say, we're reviewing. I don't know, I don't know ultimately if there's that much to know. You know what I mean? It's all,
what do you mean?
It's all sort of fairly simple, I think.
How so? Like,
well, I mean, we kind of know we've been successful so far at what we've been doing, this group.
Yeah.
Very successful. And they didn't have to go 4 years to anywhere to learn that. It seems like it's a lot simpler than we make out, that we could, we can operate very well, easily.
Yeah.
Without a lot of rigmarole or baggage. Yeah, can we?
Yeah. Do you think the walking maybe helps us simplify and kind of strips away some stuff?
Yeah, strips away, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So where do the name Camino heads come from?
Oh gosh, yeah, right.
I've always been curious, so for those of you who aren't familiar that are watching this video, so that's the name of Phil's blog and the name of the group informally, I guess. And
yeah.
Was that your idea?
Yeah. I don't know. One thing I remember though is, boy, everything's rattling and rolling.
Yeah.
One thing I remember, I called Annie and I said, I'm thinking about starting this blog. I got the paperwork all done, and I'm gonna call it Camino Heads. And she said, like, do it. It was like just like that, like, do it. So that day, I figured out how to do that all by myself. By the way, that whole process. Thank you. Thank you. It was a stretch, So, but we've been operating since 2014. And I put a post up every day, a blog post that was about I don't know, it was never over 500 words, but it was, you know, an average of 300, I would say. So
Yeah.
we put out a lot of verbiage, and in the end, when Catalina, our lovely librarian or whatever,
Yeah.
has been working on shortening it, consolidating it. But as it stands, it's 2 Don Quixotes. You know, so obviously that's not going to fly. Nobody's going to sit down and read that whole thing. But I don't know. It was an interesting sort of process.
What made you think to even start a blog at this point?
Well, the nurses at the hospital wanted me to start it, so so they could keep track of where I was in Spain, and I just kept it going after I got back. I just thought this was pretty cool, pretty fun.
Yeah, I went back and read a lot of the entries last night.
Oh, geez.
And you're right. You have been consistently writing since 2014.
Yeah.
And I really recommend everybody kind of go back and check that out. I mean, I know Catalina's going to have her book out that will have all of that as a collection, but it was really fun going back and reading it and seeing the consistency and just seeing you write that, hey, today I walked this many miles. Here's who came today. How did that writing process help you during this journey? Did you find that cathartic, and what about it helped?
That's a big word. Okay.
Sometimes I have big ones, not often.
Yeah,
I can fit that in.
it was sort of a way to like dump my stuff every day too, you know, which was, you know, it sounds weird, but it's a way to do that, to sort of not be isolated. That was one of my really big items, was do not be isolated.
Yeah.
You know, tell the story. Wow. Tell the story, you know.
Tell the story.
Yeah. So that's what it's been about for how many years. And then recently I had to have it. Chris from Buenos Aires took it over because I'd been kind of, you know, grooming her, I guess is the right word, to take it over eventually. And I got to a point where I couldn't navigate on the website, you know. I just couldn't. My material was okay, but I couldn't like put together a blog post. So I said, well, it's time for you to do it. So I sent in a paragraph every once in a while just to say I'm still kicking.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Do you have a favorite blog post that you felt?
Yeah.
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 Can you tell us about it?
Ooh, yeah, you know, there's some tremendous material when I was coming back and going through my my withdrawal, or my whatever you call it. You know, I was transitioning from Spain to that 2 months that I was transitioning.
After you came back?
Yeah.
So the reintegration back to life here.
Yeah, there's some really heavy duty stuff in there. And then there's some really great stuff. I went to Lourdes in 2018 with the Order of Malta. And that was really, really an interesting place and phenomenon and gathering. And it's labeled a pilgrimage, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I was supposed to write about it because I had written about so much about the pilgrimage, you know, the walk in Spain. So after a couple of months, I finally got it together to write about Lourdes, because it was so different and it was so subtle, and it was, you know, the way I put it after a while was, you know, I've been writing about roller derby so long, and then they wanted me to write about opera, you know. It was like that different, but they were both pilgrimages, but they were that different. And so that was good. That was an interesting little project that happened, you know, a couple of months after.
How did going to Lourdes impact you? What was the difference?
I don't know if I could even, you know, cover that in a half hour, but it was very subtle. The whole thing was very subtle and sublime. I love that word. That's a place that's sublime. People come there. It's the second most visited place in France after Paris. They have their own airport. I don't know. If we don't talk about it, we don't know about it.
No.
You know, but it's happening every day. People come and people come repeatedly. You know, it's not like they get disappointed or something. They get energized. And you know, people say, "Oh, that must be a really," you know, you say, "Oh, it's a place that a lot of sick people go," and then somebody hearing that would go, "Wow, that sounds really depressing."
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. How does that happen? Why is that? That's what I got into there. It was sort of an interesting sort of change from, you know.
Yeah. What do you think draws us to want to walk to these pilgrimages,
Oh,
you know,
geez.
and the fact that we talk about it all the time and we all want to go back. And if we can't go back, you know, we've had this lockdown and, you know, Annie started the Pilgrimage in Place community and we've all been trying to walk in our own neighborhoods. You know, we're kind of following suit after you while we haven't been able to travel. But what is it about the power of pilgrimage that draws us into it and makes us want to continue it and brings us together as a community? We all want to talk about
I know we're nuts, aren't we?
it. Maybe a little bit.
We get somebody new and it's like fresh meat, you know. Like you could talk to them, you know, all night long, you know. They're like just that's us though, you know.
What do you think it is?
Well, I don't know. We're very excited about the whole feeling of it.
Yeah.
The whole thing is amazing, you know. And we're happy with it, and we're happy when we're around it, you know. We're happy here. And somebody came up, there's a lady on the Camino now, and I think she's been on the Camino for 3 years. I mean, I know that's possible, and you see people that you go, "Oh, that guy's been on the Camino 3 years." That guy right there. You know, there's somebody that's a little bit extra scruffy, you know. We were scruffy, but they were like, okay. But I think there are people that sort of live there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's been there. I don't know, don't quote me, but I think she's been there 3 years. Anyway, she came up with this thing the other day that just rocked my world. It was kind of like, what have you figured out? You know, did we ever come to any conclusions on what we figured? Or did we just glaze over that? I don't know. Anyway, she said the epicenter of the energy of the Camino is not on the trail. It's on the people that have gone home. It's us. That's where the energy is. And we got to quit looking back. I mean, it would be, you know, if you want to go back and walk, that's great. But really we are packing this energy right now out here. And that's why we have fun together. But you see, that was her thought, was that, and I think that's really valid and a great way to come, you know, approach it.
Yeah, the Camino is living in each of us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And, you know, I always think about all the people that walked before us, right? You know, people have been walking this pilgrimage for so long, and the prayers that have been said before us and that energy, I think we pick it up and then we bring it back.
Yeah.
And then I think some of us, like you come back and you start giving back to this community, which just keeps pushing this river of the Camino forward.
Wow, I like it, river. Okay.
Right? It's just this river of energy, right?
I don't know. My thoughts early on was to keep the flame burning. I had this image,
I
a
like
little
that.
tiny flame, and I think we've done that pretty well.
I think you have. Well, I wanted to ask you, when I was watching the movie again last night, and I was thinking about you and Kelly walking, and I couldn't have imagined a more fun walking partner than Kelly after getting to know him this week.
Oh my God, we had so much fun, and we made so many people laugh along the way. You know, we were just so random and erratic and irreverent and whatever you want to say. You know, like, you know, and we had a great shtick with each other. You know, that we would say all this crazy stuff, and it wasn't like something that, you know, you took personally.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't have imagined if I had been walking the Camino at that time, how badly I would have wanted you and Kelly to be a part of my family on the Camino. What would you say was your and Kelly's hardest day out there? You know, was there a moment where it's like, wow?
Oh yeah. The first day.
The first day. Tell us about that.
The first day was 17 miles over the Pyrenees, and we did that all in one day, and we got into Roncesvalles and was I don't know, we had a hard time getting a place to sleep because we were in there late. Everybody got in there earlier.
Yeah.
But you know, we made it. We were slow, but gosh, we made it. And that was a hard day. Oh my gosh, that was a hard day. That was one of my worst days of my life. But you know, not worse. I'm not, you know, you just, after you're done, it's all fun. But while you're doing it, it's the worst day. What do I want to say about that? Oh, I know. The backside of the story on that one is that that day that we walked over the Pyrenees was my worst day of my Camino. No, my chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Which is 5 days after, you know, my chemotherapy, I get a really bad day.
Right.
And that was my really bad day, to walk over the really bad day on the Camino of 17 miles up and down.
Yeah.
So once I got done with that, I realized I had it pretty much in the bag. I mean, everything else was going to be easier. Right. So
I can't imagine, Phil, you know, that's a hard walk, and you're saying it's the hardest day of your life, and you've got a film crew filming this, you know, huffing and puffing going up, and you know, you had a great training ground, but this is not uphill.
Yeah.
Here in
well, we did some work. On hills.
You did.
We did the 500 miles here, and then Kelly and I did 200 miles with our new gear, and
oh, I didn't know that.
Well, on the road and on gravel and on the hills,
okay,
on stuff that we didn't have.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I had no idea, because I was going to ask you what your training, you know, had this trained you well for the walk, so you did that extra stuff.
Yeah, no, we were trained pretty well. We didn't have any what would be the right word, sort of heavy duty injuries on the Camino. Mm-hmm. We had the blisters, but we didn't have any you know, people get into things where they have to quit and rest up for days, you know. Okay. I forget what those problems are, but there's a couple of them that were, what were those problems that were on the Camino that,
blisters, passing out. Heat stroke at the church.
Yeah, but I mean, it had to do with your feet, and it had to do with your tendonitis.
Yeah.
And there was another one that people
blisters. People had a lot of blisters. Shin splint.
Blisters. Yeah, we had blisters, but I'm counting that as kind of a different than having those structural problems.
Yeah. You know, we're really selling the Camino right now, aren't we? Don't you all want to walk?
Oh gosh.
It's worth it, right?
It was painful. Yeah.
So let's switch gears. What was the best day out there for you and Kelly? When you look back and you think, wow, that was a Camino day. What was it like? Where were you?
I don't know. We had a lot of stuff like that. I mean, it was just endless, right? I mean, it was, you know, of little and big landscapes and new people. And I don't know, it was just a crazy thing. It was just kind of a kaleidoscope of stuff. You know, they were all good days. They were really, you know, we had only one day when we got rained on a little bit. And the rest of the days we were pretty golden.
Yeah.
Just one story that I really like, because people say, what was your favorite memory? And I don't know, it took me about 3 years to figure that out, you know. What's your favorite memory? That's crazy, you know. I got about 3,000 favorite memories.
Oh, we've got time.
Huh?
We've got time.
I'm happy because I'm gonna unload it here. But
All right. Let's start with number 3,000.
So one reason I joined the Catholic Church was that it has this you know, it has this ability to be universal, right? It's bigger than just something on a corner. You know, it has warts and it has problems in the past, and we accept that, and we accept that. We take that in. We did that. Okay, we did it. Fine. But, so on the Camino, there were all kinds of religious things you could get into, and when you got to Santiago and you got your diploma, they said, "Did you do it for religious reasons or spiritual reasons?"
Yeah.
And I go, you know, like, I mean, it was like, it threw me, you know, like, what the hell, you know? So I knew, right? Yeah. I knew that I would get some kind of old timey written in Latin diploma if I said religious. So I said, oh, religious, you know. That's it, you know. I don't know, but you know, the whole thing was spiritual, and the whole thing was, for some of us, was religious, because there were churches and there were, you know, services, and there were people to talk to, and there were monasteries to visit, and there were, you know, all kinds of stuff that you could participate in if you were Catholic, that you wouldn't necessarily want to, or you wouldn't necessarily fit into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you must have found that really meaningful after.
So that was cool, you know, that
Yeah.
was just extra special, just icing on the cake, to be able to do that. And one of the things, my best memory, okay, here's my best memory, because it has to do with this universality.
Okay.
Is that a word? Universality?
It is now.
Is that a word?
If
It is
weren't.
now?
Let's
Okay.
see. Tim, is that a word? Okay.
So it's the last day before we go down into Santiago. We're at what is it? Mountain of Joy, or whatever it's called. Guzo something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a huge dormitory up there that was built for when the Pope comes down. There's about a kabillion people that show up.
Right.
It's called a Jubilee or something. So they had this giant dormitory. It's very crazy. Sort of very un-Spanish, really, but, and it covers all like an acre or two or something. So we got some rooms in there, and they had a common area, you know, like a place where they had I don't know, it was a laundromat, and it was a restaurant, and it was a supermarket, right? And there's a few things that were, you know, people that were staying there could grab something. So we were in a restaurant. We went in a restaurant. We ordered some food, and there was some big picture windows like this, you know. And I had heard, there was a rumor that, you know, the next day we were going to be at Mass, Pilgrim's Mass, and I had heard there was so many people, which was believable, because we were drowning in people, which, you know, that's good, because you say, oh. You know, you could look at it like, oh, it was a problem because I wanted to go on my Camino, but there were so many people that they spoiled it. Or you could look at it like, oh, isn't this great? There's all these people who want to have this experience.
Right.
Right? You could say that to yourself.
So yeah, the favorite memory. Oh, the Italian priest.
The what?
You saw an Italian priest when you were.
Yeah. I saw Italian priest. I'm looking out the picture window when we're waiting on our food, and I saw this priest in the distance. You know, it looked like Lionel train set, priest. And he had his vestments on, and I didn't see anything else. And I go, that's kind of unusual. What is he doing over there? And I finally realized he was giving mass. You know, it was a mass. It was going to be, the Eucharist was going to be celebrated. And I go, whoa, because the point was I was hearing this rumor that they weren't going to have the Eucharist at the service because there was too many people.
Right.
So I go, okay, I'm going to try to find out what's going on over there. So I go, okay, I'll be back, So I run across the open concrete, I run way across. And as I got closer, I see that there's about 12, 13, 14, 15 people like in this little alcove. And he's, talking to them and with them. And it is a service, and it looks like a group that was traveling with their priest. And they would have a service every night. So here comes this crazy American me, I just come running in and I genuflect like that's my badge,
Your ticket in.
My ticket. And I get in amongst them and they make room, and they're talking to the priest like each one is talking about their day. And then he's given a little feedback and the next one would talk about their day. So we got through with that. And then we got into the real service and, you kind of, even though it's in Spanish or Italian, what's going on,
right.
So I was so happy to have communion with them. And then after communion, I got back in, the semicircular line and I was there for a few minutes and I realized my food was coming. And so I said to the guy next to me, thank you. And I sort of backed out and I genuflect again and I ran back. It was,
that is a great memory.
It was but it was kind of like a, drive-by Eucharist, and but they were happy with me. And there wasn't really any words said other than my thank you, but
yeah,
and that's lovely.
Yeah, that's a beautiful memory. What a powerful memory.
Yeah, so that's sort of what I've come down to, although there's hundreds of other ones.
Yeah. So what was it like when you finally, you're going through that tunnel, you make that turn, you see the cathedral for the first time? Could you describe for us what that moment was like?
I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to get out of there. I got to get out of here because this is killing me. Kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to, obviously really happy to be there. And I had some prayers that I left in the crypt. That was very moving, the crypt. But I was really exhausted. I could hardly walk.
Yeah. So there's a famous quote about the Camino is that it doesn't give us what we want, it gives us what we need.
Yeah, okay.
So you have Phil's Camino here, and then you've walked the Camino in Spain. So what do you think the Camino gave to you that you didn't expect?
Oh, wow. I don't know. That's a huge topic right there. I don't know. I was working so hard here on our preliminary walk, and Annie was giving me her material. And I was doing such great work, inner pilgrimage work right here before I went.
Yeah. So
I went there, and that whole thing sort of pushed me over the edge. I mean, I've already done all this work. It just it wasn't much to push me.
Yeah, was it kind of the icing on the cake?
Yeah. So I mean, it just was. It gave me a new view of people in the world, and the way a new view about God and a new view about our fellow man.
Mm-hmm.
wow, what more is there? You know, I mean, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I want to switch to, you know, you go and see the film 6 Ways to Santiago.
Right.
You become familiar with our favorite pilgrim, Annie. And I believe, if I have the story correct, Rebecca reaches out and tells her, hey, you got to hear about, you know, what my husband has done out here on Vashon Island. And then you reach out to Annie, and of course, no one can resist you. We all love you from the minute we meet you. And Annie says, I got to meet this guy. Yeah. So what drove Rebecca to send this to her and for you to reach out to her? What was it
I don't
about
know.
Annie?
The whole thing shouldn't have happened. You know? I mean, really, there was so much about the movie. There was so much about the blog. There was so much about the way all these people came together. It was just crazy cool. And wow, it's like not even supposed to happen this way. You know,
Right.
You know, it just had a life of its own.
Yeah.
So we just went with it. We thought about it as St. James being sort of in charge.
Yes.
And so we just went with the program, you know.
Could you ever imagine the day that this email goes out to Annie that this filmmaker from LA was going to show up at your doorstep for real?
Yeah.
And then say to you, we got a movie here, Phil.
Yeah, no, she
Your
called.
story needs to be told.
Yeah, she called and said, how about March 2nd, which was about 2 weeks away. And I went crazy around here, you know, like, Annie's coming, Annie's coming.
Well, let's bring Annie up. Annie's here with us.
Oh, good.
The Oasis. So we're gonna have Annie come up.
Right in the middle here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have her come up and talk. And
there's a chair here.
Yeah. Create some room here. So this is Annie O'Neill. Most of you watching probably are familiar with Annie, but Annie, filmmaker, author, and most of all, great friend to the Camino. You've probably seen her in 6 Ways to Santiago, and she has Pilgrimage in Place. And we're just all honored to know Annie. And Annie, I just want to say that I'm so grateful for making this film and for introducing us to Phil. And I just want to say to everyone out here, you know, I wouldn't have known Phil, just like probably the rest of us, right? And it just is a beautiful gift that you have given to the Camino, to the Camino family. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. But I have to say, like Phil said, it just kind of happened.
Yeah, it was remarkable. And I don't know, we really can't take credit for too much.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, what is going on here? And then, you know, the next thing would happen and we would go, oh, okay. You know, some major talent would walk in and help us out, or somebody would walk in with some money, or, you know, we were borrowing and stealing the whole way. And so everything was a miracle, you know.
Everything. And it's true, you know, there was just times when it was like, okay, it's been great so far, but we just reached the roadblock.
We're tired. We're exhausted. Yeah.
And then I'd wake up in the morning and somebody would say, hey, I just got a bonus and I want to give you my bonus.
Wow.
You know, or like something like that. And I mean, the list is so endless. It's the list in the credits, but it's also more.
Yeah.
Annie, what was it like that first day you got to meet Phil?
Oh my God. We were walking around here.
Yeah.
And Phil was just being Phil.
Yeah. But the day before was sunny and bright and beautiful. And the day after was sunny, bright and beautiful. And the day we walked was just like, we were like drowned rats, you know, but
I did have to borrow some boots. I think
You
Rebecca gave me some boots.
Somehow we had a major fun, you know, and we realized some things that were very interesting. And
yeah,
you know,
Phil let me know afterwards.
What did we realize?
Yeah, well, afterwards, Phil wrote to me or told me on the phone, I'm still recovering from your visit. But I think, you know, for me, it was like, Phil, we were walking and Phil said, you know, I have stage 4 cancer. I said, oh, man, Phil, that's rough. I know. And he goes, you know, there is no stage 5. And I was like, oh, I can't even imagine what that's like.
Right.
And then he goes, I'm getting an A in cancer. It was like, Phil never like went to the morose, you know, he went to the funny. He
Yeah.
went to the quirky. He went to the unusual. He went to
Quirky, yeah.
the quirky. Yeah, that's an adjective.
Quirky, yeah.
But it, you know, it just struck me that if I were ever in his shoes, I would want to know him.
Yes.
You know, if I ever got a diagnosis, I would want to know him. And for my friends who were dealing with the same thing, they should know him. So I started saying like, hey, Phil, I think we got a movie here. And he would laugh. He thought that was the funniest thing. And he would say, I'm just a guy walking in the mud.
Yeah.
And, you know, and somebody called me the other day and they were like, Annie, what's your story? And I was like, well, how much time do you have? You know? And he was like, well, you know Phil's story. And I go, yeah, I knew Phil's story. Phil didn't know Phil's story. Phil wasn't walking around going, I'm a guy who's amazing. You know, he never thought that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know our story. I mean, we may know our story, but we don't talk about it. It takes somebody witnessing it. And I think that's one of the things
Wow,
that you do.
that's a
Yes.
cool thought right there.
And I think that's one of the things that you do on the Camino here. People come to you and you just walk with them and witness them.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like a lot of it, he drops a lot of
Yes, you're
wisdom,
right.
but he also just witnesses. So people come and they talk to him. And in that walking, he's witnessing. And that's what we can do for each other. And that's what we need to do for each other.
Wow.
Oh, Annie, that's
Annie.
the
Annie.
Camino, right?
That's
Is that
the
we are
Camino.
witnessing
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
story. They're witnessing our story.
Yeah.
Oh, Annie, that's
I'm
that's
tangled up in
beautiful.
the Elk Motel here. Can you get
Right,
that
yeah,
off
there.
there? Thanks. You know, and so that's one of the things that we have to keep doing. And that's one of the things I think that Phil is teaching us without
Yes.
saying, I'm here to teach you. We need to witness each other. But he just said it a few minutes ago when he was saying, we already know. We already know. We already know that we need to love each other up.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
already know we need to give each other hospitality. I mean, that's what we do when we witness, right?
Yes.
So I'm not here to tell my story. I'm here to live my story. And he's here to live his story. And you're here to live your story. And
Mhm.
everybody, we're all here to live our
Mhm.
stories. And we
Yeah.
can just witness for one another.
Mhm.
That's what we can do.
Wow.
Wow.
You know,
Right,
without a lot of rigmarole.
Yeah.
I love Phil's word choice. all the
Yes.
time. And rigmarole is one of those. You know? Dilly dally. Remember dilly dally?
Dilly dally.
For a
Oh,
while, we were really on dilly dally.
Dilly
I got to bring that back.
I think there's just something about Phil and his humbleness and like you're saying, the words and the just so down to earth that just
Yeah.
resonates with all of us, and the kindness and the love.
Well, I think that's one of the things, you know, he's got to get it in there. You know, he's got one more line. So he's not dilly-dallying around.
Yeah,
He's
right.
just like, let's be there for each other and let's be there for ourselves. And I have a question for
Yes.
Phil.
Yeah. Ask.
Because I haven't asked you enough questions in our life.
Oh, okay.
You know, one of the things we were talking about yesterday reminded me of one of my favorite stories of yours is about when you came back from the Camino and you got together with Kelly and Rick.
Mm.
So you hadn't seen them for a couple of weeks, and then you got together with Kelly and Rick, and you were really excited to get together with them, but it was awkward.
It was
And
awkward.
You had to figure that out. Do you want to?
Yeah, I wrote a blog about that because the blog might have even been awkward because the whole thing was so awkward. But we had changed. All three of us, we had changed, and we sort of weren't acknowledging it. And we came together and it just where we could see each other. And it was very strange. It was like we weren't
You were.
we were
jiving.
just a little bit off. Everything was a little bit off. And I was trying to write about that in a blog, and I don't know if I was successful in that. But, we were in that transition stage of, coming back to our old life.
I think what you were writing about was you were coming back to your old life, thinking that you had to figure out how to fit into your old life.
Uh-huh.
And what you came to was
Uh-huh.
you had to figure out how to fit your old life into who you are now.
Yeah, who I am now. I'm a different person.
And the three of you worked through that. Like
The
figured
three of us
out-
had to do that, but we were still sort of in process.
Yeah, but I think that's the best
Yes.
description of like, that's bringing back, that's your Camino starting in Santiago. You bring your new self to your old life and figure out how to fit the old life in. You don't try to fit into the old life.
Right.
You know, it was
That's
really-
what it takes ultimately. And that's after 2 months, that's where I arrived.
yeah. and
2
that-
months of struggling.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was so profound. And I was thinking about that last night when we were talking about the pandemic. And remember that conversation you were talking about, what do we do now
Mhm.
to not make this last year a waste,
Oh, yeah.
a waste of time?
Yeah.
Can you talk
Well,
about
I
that?
know, but I think we all we've all learned stuff in this year, and we have to acknowledge that, and we have to make that into something good, you know, and bring that out, whatever it is to us, or maybe it's all the same thing to us. I don't know. It's an opportunity.
Yeah, it struck me as the same thing about that awkwardness with you and Kelly and Rick when you
Yeah.
were figuring it out. And if we don't bring our new selves
Yeah.
forward, then it was just a waste.
There's a lot of awkwardness right now.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of awkwardness in all kinds of people and in us that we have to sort of figure out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if you could just take a minute and describe our setting. Tell the people here that are going to be watching Camino Cafe, tell them about our setting here.
Our setting, where we are right now.
Yeah.
We are at the Elk Hotel, which is a canvas cabin
And pull this back.
that we had we bought 25 years ago, and it's very stout, and nothing's going to knock it over. So this is where I chose to fly away from, this canvas tent here. And I don't know, on our first visit from the hospice nurse, thank you, Crystal, her name is, and the first visit, she had all these questions, all these questions. And then she arrived at this question, which was, do you have a image of your death? Do you have some way you're seeing it? And I go, okay. Okay. Okay, are you ready? And so I was wondering when in this whole process I was gonna, get the tent in there. I knew they weren't used to tents. I knew, and I didn't know how it was gonna go over, So I go, I got this fantasy. I'm a Civil War general and I'm dying in my tent. Okay. And she goes, "Ooh, how about costumes?"
She doesn't bat an eye.
Like she was way ahead of me, So that fit in nicely to the program. And we've so far got a hospital bed in here and all the gear. Well, maybe not all the gear, but most of the gear for hospice work. And, so this is where I'm going to be camping out pretty soon. Right now, it's sort of, we're just putting it together. And it's right outside the back door on the deck. We got a nice floor to tromp around on.
This is where the tapas table usually is.
Yes.
This is where the tapas table usually is, right out. Right on this surface. Yeah.
So this is your spot. And we've all been in and out of here all weekend.
I know. I wanted to have some sort of nomadic sort of thing. I didn't want to have some place in the house where, everybody would go, "Oh, Dad died there," So, you know what I mean? I didn't want to have that. So we're moving it out here and we're kind of sharing it, I guess.
Catalina, our dear Catalina, she works with Jesuits. And Phil wrote that amazing blog post recently, where you described this time that you have now graduated from chemo to hospice, which is how you put it. And a lot of the Jesuits that she works with love you, and they've seen the film, and some of them have come up here to walk with you.
Yes, they have.
And when she told them about that blog post, they were all so happy for you. They were so happy
Good.
because they feel like you are achieving your pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And she was telling me that, and I was like, oh my gosh, Phil is about to walk into Santiago.
I know, and you could look at it other ways too, but yeah, you're right.
And we're excited for those people who are, at Monte de Gozo and who are going to walk into Santiago the next day.
Right.
That's where I'm at. And it's painful. I can hardly walk.
Well,
Yeah, good thought. Good way to go. Yeah, nice.
And this weekend has given a lot of us a chance to laugh together and a chance to cry together and to do some planning.
Well, I hope so. I looked at it as a place to regroup. We're coming in sort of straggling in as individuals, and we can sort of get together as the way we should be working, the way maybe we got fractured over the last year or so. I mean, everybody's out of kilter a little bit. We got to fine tune our equipment and get together with our friends from before.
That's beautiful, because that's like you're reminding us that the Camino's inside of us. So we got to take this Camino into our communities now.
Well, yeah.
That's what we do inside.
But we have to recognize that we're all we're off. We're just a little bit off.
Right.
And it's causing a lot of problems. You can see it. Watch the news. Everybody's a little bit off. So we have to account for that. We have to figure that out. How do we deal with that? What's the best way to deal with that?
I wondered, Phil, a lot of the Camino Head community, a lot of members couldn't really come this weekend. And I'm sure that they're watching this, wishing that they were here with you. And I just wondered if you wanted to maybe say a little something to the folks, maybe like Chris, that couldn't travel this weekend. If you just wanted to say a few words to those folks.
Well, so this will be available to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's cool. Yeah, Chris, who's number one helper on the blog and with this project, she took over the RSVP area of this, and she also did some work on programming. So she's doing the blog, basically she's putting out all the blog posts, and people are writing the material and sending it into her mostly, but she's putting it together. So Chris, we love you. She's on her way to Spain. She's moving to Spain, so she's got a little bit too much to do to be here, but there'll be other times. There'll be other times and places. And then William is up in Calgary for some, I don't know what the border problem is, but there's a border problem. Yeah, those are two that I know about. Ron got here, and Anne from Spain, they got here.
There's a lot of people who wanted to be here.
Oh yeah.
They're with you in spirit.
I suppose, yeah. I suppose.
Well, I think that we probably should wrap up. You said to me the other night, Phil, that you still had a lot to say. And so we decided to do these interviews. So before we close, is there anything else, anybody else you want to say hi to, or anything else that you'd like to say before we close out the interview?
Boy, I don't know. This is like having fresh meat, Could we talk all night or what?
Hey, we can keep going till the computer says we have to stop.
Till it dies. Yeah, I know. I don't know, the Camino is such a lovely thing that, I don't know, we cherish it. We all cherish it. I think it's very invigorating to think about that we are the epicenter of that energy. It's sort of up to us to be the epicenter. That's a good way to think of it.
Yeah, that's a great way to close. Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much for being you.
You're welcome.
And I just want to, say to everyone. Thank you, Annie, for joining us here for the interview.
Thank you
And,
for being so gracious. This
yeah.
is lovely.
This is,
I love talking to this guy.
yeah, we all love you, Phil.
Oh, geez.
You have
Thank
made our lives better by knowing you. So
Thank you. It goes
you.
two ways.
thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching our interview today with Phil Volker and Annie O'Neill joining us, and everyone here at the Oasis, the Camino heads. We are just so happy to be a part of this Camino community. So thank you. Until next time.
Las cosas que necesito en la vida ya están aquí. Las cosas que necesito en la vida ya están aquí. I am free, free as a bird now, with my feathered wings. I am free, free as a bird now, with my feathered wings.